Hello, and welcome to a Patreon exclusive episode of Allegedly Astrology, where we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history. Dina, what are we covering on this episode?
Ozempic.
Ozempic. I mean, it's a household name at this point, but Ozempic is a diabetes shot that has become one of the hottest and most controversial weight loss trends in Hollywood and around the world. In 2023, it was the 19th most commonly prescribed medication in the US, with more than 25 million prescriptions. And yet, most of the world still only has limited access to this drug. So let's learn about Ozempic and its astrology.
Okay, so if you're wondering, what is Ozempic? So Ozempic is a brand name of a type of medication that's called a semaglutide, and it's made by a Danish pharma company called Novo Nordisk. And its prescribed use is to treat type 2 diabetes.
Yes, that was like its original, why it was made, was a diabetes drug. And it can be taken orally or by injection. And what it does is it acts like a hormone we have in our bodies called GLP-1, which regulates your appetite. So when you take Ozempic, it makes you feel full faster and eat fewer calories.
And the most common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and constipation. And when you take Ozempic, you have to take it forever. Like, it is a lifetime thing. And it definitely works, especially when you use it for weight loss. But when you stop taking it, most people regain about 2/3 of the weight that they lost while they were on it.
Next time you read the side effects, you have to read it like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea.
Yeah. Like
a
lethal language. Yeah.
But GLP-1, the hormone Ozempic mimics, was discovered in the 1970s by Jean-Jules Holst, Joel Habener, and Svetlana Mosov.
Yes, they were examining hormones secreted during eating, and they discovered a hormone called GLP-1 that affects your appetite. And their work later contributes significantly to diabetes and obesity treatments.
Wow, that was so long ago. Why did it take so long?
FDA probably, Well, I mean, they discovered it, and then it's
Right,
like,
but
okay,
how
what
do
do
you
we
use
do?
it? Yeah. But they released a landmark paper. And so, Dana, what was going on when this paper was published?
So the paper, which was called Pre-propaglucagon gene expression in pancreas and intestine diversifies at the level of post-translational processing.
Wow.
Okay, that's probably why they needed a copywriter, because it's probably why it took people so long to figure out that this was groundbreaking.
Pre-proglucagon.
Oh, wow.
Pre-proglucagon. Pre-proglucagon. Okay. It took me a few times. Just a little embarrassing for a Gemini. It's just seeing me naked, basically. Well, it was published on September 5th, 1986, and it was submitted on February 6th. So February 6th was the sun was in Aquarius, moon was in Capricorn. It was right before a new moon in Aquarius, which, again, now we're getting something for the people. Along with the new moon in Aquarius was Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. Great news. Mars was conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, and Uranus was in Sagittarius. So this is also like innovations in metabolic technology, with Jupiter ruling Sagittarius and Jupiter having to do with like that. Then on September 5th, 1986, there was a new moon in Virgo conjunct Mercury, and it was also Mercury Cazimi. So Virgo is a sign of health. Mercury is publishing. It's opposite Jupiter in Pisces, which also relates to innovations in metabolic science. Again, it's Jupiter. Square Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius. So it's a slow start, and the world just, wasn't ready for it. Maybe the people who discovered it weren't ready for it. Here, I'm already answering questions that you guys asked. Okay, cool. Rarely does that happen. And then trining Mars and Capricorn. Also, there's rigorous testing that's required, because this is, to do it on people is like, I mean, you discover like a diamond in the rough. It's like they have to be so careful with, I don't know, pharma.
Yeah, 100%. So decades go by, and in 2017, an injectable version of semaglutide with the brand name that we all know, Ozempic, was approved in the US for use by people with diabetes. And to this day, Ozempic is the only FDA-approved semaglutide. So that's the only one.
What about Wegovy and stuff?
Mounjaro.
So we'll get to...
I love the name Mounjaro. It sounds like it would be
a
character in Pocahontas.
So yes. Okay, we'll just wait, because we'll talk about it.
We'll get there in a sec.
So what was going on when it was approved for type 2 diabetes?
So this was December 5th, 2017 in Silver Spring, Maryland, and the sun is in Sagittarius with Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. The moon is in Cancer, and Mercury stationed retrograde in Sagittarius 2 days before. So again, we're getting a lot of Sagittarius. What is huge is that it's a Saturn return of the discovery. So that's why, like, it's
Oh.
approved. Like, no surprise there. Also, it's completed the full Saturn cycle. It's been 30 years. They've had, time to play with it and figure out what's going on. Uranus was on GLP-1's North Node in Aries. So this is like, it's ready. We're ready to bring this groundbreaking study to the world. It's fated now. Venus in Sagittarius is conjunct GLP-1's Saturn. So this is also relating to approval, administrative approval, institutional approval. Pluto is conjunct GLP-1's Mars, so it's like powered up. It's just something that's bigger than we even know, right? It's Mars. It's also an injectable, so it's going to change the world. And then Neptune is opposite the Sun, Moon, Mercury of GLP-1. Neptune in Pisces. So is it too good to be true? I don't know. People seem to have these questions. There seems to be a lot of fear around it, which is so interesting because I feel like I don't remember there being this much fear around like prescription amphetamines or opioids. You know what I mean? Like this one doesn't seem to have as many like behavioral side effects as other major drugs. I don't know.
Well, because I was gonna say, I feel like there are some people that are like, maybe you should think about what you're putting in your body, and then there are some people that are like, yeah, this is great because it does have such a effect. Like it
Some people have like quit smoking using it or like other bad habits, I
Yeah,
think.
it helps with like addiction.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah,
And it's not like they're not paying. They're in the bathroom a lot. They're paying.
they're
Yeah.
paying. But it's also worth noting that only Novo Nordisk manufactures FDA-approved semaglutide medicines, and these semaglutide medicines account for nearly 2/3 of the company's sales.
And by 2023, Novo Nordisk had become the most valuable corporation in the European Union. It's worth more than $500 billion, and it accounted
What?
for almost all the recent economic growth in Denmark. So, what's the synastry like between Novo Nordisk and Ozempic?
So it was founded December 21st, 1923 in Bagsværd, Denmark. And Novo Nordisk has a Sagittarius sun and a Gemini moon. Hell yeah. And so looking at their synastry, Mercury retrograde in Saturn for Ozempic is conjunct Novo Nordisk sun. So this is like a spotlight. It's lasting fame. It's notoriety. This is an exact conjunction. Saturn here brings it, the lasting power. Mercury retrograde, it takes a little time to get its feet off the ground, but it does. And Venus in Sagittarius is conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter in Scorpio is conjunct Novo's Mars. So this Jupiter grants expansion, which I mean, I just found out that it's $500 billion company.
Yeah.
And that's insane to me. And with like Venus is like or Mars is going for it. Venus is letting it come to you. This is like a give and take. It's time. And it's great that this happened. I mean, like this was its meal ticket. Haha. Pun not originally intended, but no, I'm glad
Oh,
they made it.
gotcha.
And then
Just a half a meal.
yeah. Pluto in Capricorn is conjunct Novo Nordisk's Mercury. So this is again power for messaging marketing. It makes it larger than life. And it also makes it something that will change the world, like has changed the world. At least I think it's changed a lot of things in America. It seems to be changing the way people market food. Like now Taco Bell has like these tiny little meals.
Yeah, my husband is a market researcher, and it comes up in literally every brand he works with.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
it's like alcohol brands to chocolate brands. The only
Wow.
brand that it doesn't affect is the dog food brand he works for.
Dog Ozempic.
But you know what? I feel like it just got approved for cats, so I feel like it would be a
What?
conversation. Yes.
That's so
Yes.
No, fat cats.
I
No
know.
more.
No more. Our field is of a bygone era.
Yeah.
Lasagna for cats.
Sad.
But the thing to know about Ozempic is that it's very expensive. In 2023, a 1-month supply was $936 in the US. And I don't know if that was I think that was not for insurance, right?
That must
But
have been
even
outside
still,
insurance.
I remember my mom is pre-diabetic, and her doctor wanted her to take it. And even though she had a prescription and from a doctor, it was still prohibitively expensive.
Really?
But so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was crazy.
And though it was so expensive, and honestly still is, it became a favorite for celebrities like Chrissy Teigen, Sharon Osbourne, Chelsea Handler, Amy Schumer, Tracy Morgan, and Elon Musk. And they all were using it for off label reasons, which is for rapid weight
It didn't
loss.
work for him though because he was too addicted to ketamine. Remember? His
Yeah,
stomach
he's
just bloated.
fucking crazy. Celebs really loved it, obviously, because they have unlimited financial resources, but it could really dramatically change their bodies in a really short amount of time. It, of course, did have its downsides, like perpetuating unrealistic beauty standards, causing their faces to transform. Because you're losing weight so rapidly, your face kind of loses all of its fat, but you get kind of like sunken eyes, gaunt cheeks, sagging skin, and it became known as Ozempic face.
Do you remember when we were at Matt's lake house and he kept playing that song on his pontoon? It was like, I don't care about my waist, just my tiny little waist. And it'd be like, Ozempic, Moonjaro. Like, and it would just with
No.
semaglutide. Oh my God, that was so funny. You were
Oh
there.
my
But
God.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I was there, but you're not supposed to use it without medical supervision.
Yes. And I bet you're probably
It's not like
wondering.
it's like on the street. Or I guess probably there. I'm sure there's a gray market for it. Excuse me.
You can literally order it online now, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
There's
we'll get
black
to in a
market
little bit how
Ozempic.
people like kind of skirt around it. But I bet you're wondering how the world found out about this little Hollywood weight loss secret. And I was stunned to find out that it first made headlines when it was featured on the Dr. Oz show. So,
Classic. I want to know though,
Isn't
like,
he in the cabinet?
yeah, he's a Trump advisor, or whatever. But I want to know like how celebrities first figure like who was the doctor that like figured out that it could be used for weight loss and like was doing this kind of under the table for all of these rich people.
It just was. I'm assuming it just had to be like enough doctors being like, my diabetes patients are losing weight. Some of them probably who didn't want to lose weight were losing. You know, like
Right.
it just probably did something to people
I
at such a
think
rapid rate.
they will remain nameless, but I could think of two people that we know that became diabetic and lost
So much
a
weight.
ton of weight
Yeah.
based on it.
I mean,
So,
it's true, but
yeah.
yeah, I feel like Hollywood just picks up on things so much faster than the Gen Pop.
They
It's
they
true.
gatekeep it.
Yeah.
Probably because it's like prohibitively expensive for so long at up top, and they're
But
also
I
probably
also
more willing to be like guinea pigs.
Right, but also I feel like there was only a limited supply, so they didn't
Oh
want
yeah,
to
I forgot
be
about that.
known as people like taking drugs from diabetics.
Yeah.
Which they
100%.
which we
Which
already
they
think
were.
they are.
Yeah.
The jig is up.
Well, what was going on, Dana, when it appeared on Dr. Oz?
This was February 16th, 2021 at 2 p.m. in New York City, and the sun was in Aquarius, the moon was in Aries, it's a Cancer rising. Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius, it's conjunct Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. This is like solutions for the populace. It's also like Dr. Oz, to my knowledge, is like a primetime, or not primetime, he's like a daytime talk show. I mean, I don't even know
Yeah,
if it's
he
still on.
was.
Right.
No, it's not on anymore.
So this is so Aquarius to me. It's sort of like, and also like Mercury retrograde, sort of saying something maybe a little too early, maybe like, you know, like releasing this information that's like sort of a secret, like a trade secret, or, you know, something that maybe like this. There are so many times when it's like, I feel like
I
Oprah would be like, put a lot of lemon juice on lettuce and then wish you were someone
Yeah,
else.
but how much you want to bet Dr. Oz had invested in Novo Nordisk right before he
Right?
made this
You're
like
brilliant.
big announcement? You know what I mean?
You're so smart. Yeah. That would have been a good one. And then Mars is in Taurus, so it's sort of like appealing to vanity, but also it's a shot, Mars, to curb appetite, Taurus, in order to achieve other goals, which is like Mars, like, you know what I mean? Like, can't be hungry right now, I have to achieve other things. Like, and then Saturn is squaring Uranus in Taurus, so Saturn in Aquarius is squaring Uranus in Taurus, and it's like new permanent solutions for the masses. It's new as Uranus, Saturn is in Aquarius, and Saturn is Aquarius, and Aquarius is the masses. So it's that really was interesting to me to see because it's an exact square. So yeah. It's also, I guess, with the Mercury retrograde, like you're not talking about something that's a brand new like we're not talking about something that's new. We're talking about something that's existed
Yeah.
for, 4 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, technically from like a while.
Yeah. And the South Node was in Sagittarius. So it's also like with Sagittarius being so tied to both Novo Nordisk and the FDA approval of Ozempic, that South Note sort of like lifting the curtain.
Yeah. Lifting the curtain. So after Dr. Oz, Ozempic's popularity surges dramatically to the mid to late 2022. And before we knew it, hashtag Ozempic and hashtag Ozempic challenge were being used by TikTok creators to share their impressive results.
Odd. And of course, all of this led to a huge surge in use. By 2023, it became one of the world's best-selling drugs, and the FDA declared that there was a shortage of Ozempic due to the overuse. So, what was going on during that time that made Ozempic so popular?
So 2023 was the nodal return of the discovery. We make so many things with nodal returns.
Which discovery?
Oh.
Of the GLP-1 molecule.
Oh, wow.
Also,
Damn.
2023 began with Mars retrograde in Gemini. Mars is injections, Gemini is nerves. Gemini, I mean, I read this in a book that I do take with a grain of salt because it's by Sasha Fenton, and it was a book I read like years ago. But she said that Gemini was a sign most associated with eating disorders, which makes sense. Like
Oh.
technically, it's Gemini is about nerves. It's Mercury. A lot of times when Mercury is like a planet that reduces appetite. Like Mercury retrograde, people might notice that their appetite's very decreased during those periods. And then March 2023, Saturn entered Pisces, which is where Jupiter was when Ozempic was, or when GLP-1 was discovered. So it's criticism, but it's not going anywhere. You're right. It's like Saturn is also cementing it. Like if there's a shortage, there's like such a demand, right? So it's sort of like Jupiter is the the surplus, and then Saturn's the shortage. So that's what that is. And then summer 2023 was Venus retrograde in Leo, which is about celebrity. It's, vanity, maybe like people wanting to do a glow up, It was a great time for a glow up. It was also a big time for celebrity breakups. But aside from that, people probably were just like thinking more about, how they look.
No, 100%. So, I mean, Hollywood is nonstop using it. They are obsessed with looks. Regular people are trying to figure out how to get their hands on it. And this is creating all of this conversation around the product.
Yes. And so many critics of the drug say that celebrities shouldn't be using it, just lose 10 pounds quickly, but that it should be for people who are at risk of dying of obesity and that people are disregarding their health just to get thin.
Then you have other people like Vanessa Williams who are very pro Ozempic, saying like she used it to combat premenopausal weight gain.
But with all the overuse, insurance companies began investigating individuals and would refuse to cover those who they thought were using the drug for weight loss.
But clearly, Ozempic did work for weight loss. So what Novo Nordisk did was create a drug with a higher dosage of Ozempic's active ingredient and marketed that drug specifically for weight loss. And that drug's brand name is Wegovy.
Got it.
That's being advertised so much in the Olympics from, what's his name, Keenan Thompson.
Yes.
And BJ Khaled.
Yes. And I forget that other guy's name, but it's like, if it was a pill, I'd take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So, Dana, what was going on when Wegovy was approved?
This was June 4th, 2021 in Silver Spring, Maryland, and the sun was in Gemini, the moon was in Aries, which is really, fuck it, we're doing it live energy. If you guys know that clip from Bill O'Reilly. But Mercury had stationed retrograde in Gemini 5 days earlier, so there's intensity and there's a lot of opinions. But since it's in Gemini, it's like the Gemini superpower, the strength of Gemini is the ability to change opinions as new information is revealed and researched. So it's like, okay, we have this thing, we can, we just change the formula or like increase the dosage, and now it's something else. It doesn't have to just be the one thing that it was just like made for. Mercury retrograde is also associated with decreased or changing appetite. So that makes sense, especially in Gemini, which is so neurotic. It's eclipse season. So there's before and there's after. Gemini being so mercurial, and with the North Node Sun and Mercury, they're all Mercury retrograde, like it just points to reduced appetite, and it's being used like a tool is being used to regulate appetite. Venus and Mars in Cancer mean that other people really take it personally, which is sort of the side thing that we've, like people seem to like have a lot of opinions about it. I don't really care what people do.
Yeah, it was such a hot topic and people were weighing in.
It seems like a lot of people who lost weight without it want to be given a gold star, a trophy.
Yes.
And a recognition that they didn't use something.
They didn't, right. They didn't take the easy way out. But a lot of people like weren't able to lose weight even through just working out and diet and exercise. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Also, who cares?
Yeah, who
I
cares?
mean, also, like, I know quite a few people who are on it, and it also isn't easy. Like, you get sick when you take your injections, especially at the beginning. And then, like, also, too, you could get kidney stones. Like, it's not yeah, because, like, you're not hungry. So, like, you're not drinking water a lot of the time because your body doesn't indicate that it needs it. So, it's not like you just get an injection and, like, you're perfectly fine. Like, there are serious side
Yeah,
effects
that's
that
insane.
affect you.
Also, that just threw me back to the real world Chicago when Tanya passed a kidney stone and then in like a solo cup and they showed it on TV.
Ew, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about how Anissa always was naked on that
Oh yeah, she
season.
was. And I remember it was like in 2001 and they have her in the confessional. She's like, tomorrow's my birthday, September 11th. And it was like they use it as like a
Oh
big
my
draw. Yeah.
god.
Anyway, back to Ozempic. It's also the Jupiter return of the original GLP-1 publication in 2021. So this is increasing the hype. And
Oh,
Mars is in
damn.
Cancer opposite Pluto. So it's leveling a playing field too. Mars and Cancer, like aside from it being taking things personally, with Pluto there, it's balancing this sort of like some people can't maybe it's more affordable to take this drug than it is to buy like food, the healthy food. Not that everywhere's a food desert, but there's just a lot of arguments I feel like you could make aside from that people wanted the easy way out.
For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
And also, if they do want the easy way out, cool.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. Let
So
them live.
Let them
Novo
live.
Nordisk is making bank out there, but they won't be the king of the GLPs for long because their patents in some parts of the world are about to run out.
So, dozens of manufacturers in other countries are gearing up to sell knockoff versions of Ozempic elsewhere, which could push the monthly cost down as low as $15 for users in some countries. So
Wow.
that will like change
Dope.
everything.
But if you were hoping for cheaper Wegovy in the US, you'll have to wait because Novo Nordisk still has a few more years before its patent runs out in the US and the UK.
Wow.
But
Dana,
let's go
do
to
you have
Mexico. Let's get some off-brand Ozempic in Mexico girls
No.
trip.
That literally sounds
That does sound really
terrifying.
scary,
I'll get other
actually.
off-brand things. What else can I get there?
You could get
Tretinoin.
a lot of like Mexican Adderall.
Yeah, I got that once. It was
Oh, that's the
fun.
modafinil one, right?
Yeah,
That's what they gave. That's what Hillary was on.
good. It worked.
Yeah,
I
I've
liked
said
it.
it makes people. There's no like edge. Like
Yeah, it kind of
so-
reminds me of Vyvanse where, like, you just are, like, suddenly alert. Like, it doesn't have that, like, fun stimulant kick that good old Adderall has. But I like to
Fun
bulk out,
stimulant.
yeah, sure. Well, some predictions. I don't really have anything clear, but Venus retrograded in Scorpio in 1986, right after the study was published in September. So perhaps like another groundbreaking study will happen this fall when Venus retrogrades in Scorpio again.
Oh.
Or perhaps it'll bring attention to Venus literally retrograde in Scorpio, Venus being about like how things look, Scorpio being Mars ruled sign, like injections, Venus retrograde. I don't know. I mean, I've noticed that they're offering it in pill form now. I don't know. But I do think maybe it could maybe they'll have like some sort of study to back up, or maybe they'll be like looking into like how it stops people doing other sort of compulsive behaviors. Because that's really interesting to me. I would like to read that study. I mean, I'd like to read the abstract of that study. I'm not going to read the whole study.
I wonder if it has something to do with, like, noise or, like, chatter of your brain because, like, I know my one friend that takes Ozempic was like, "Oh, it got rid of food noise," and I feel like a lot of times, like, if it helps you stop smoking, a lot of times it's, like, that urge, where you're,
Sure.
like, on edge and you just have, like, that craving for it, and Ozempic, like, does stuff to your blood sugar too, so I wonder if when your blood sugar is stabilized, like, if we think of our girl, the glucose goddess,
Oh yeah.
like, there's a lot of, like, positive benefits, like, you're not gonna have, like, a crash during the day, you're not gonna want coffee, which somehow makes you crave a cigarette because you're not sleepy during the day. I don't know. Just some thoughts.
That's no, fantastic thoughts. Yeah. Also, when you sort of speak about it that way, it makes me like think back to how Sagittarius is such a big player because Sagittarius is like big picture, so it brings you out of the moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, more studies are going to come because it's so groundbreaking and like obesity is such a huge problem, not just in the US, but in a lot of parts of the world, especially as like the quality of our food goes down.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't imagine that this wouldn't be hotly debated and discussed, but I am very curious. We don't have any long-term data on this. So I'm curious of like when some of that is gonna start coming out. But
Well, because it's
we
like there's data based on like you using it for diabetes. Like we know that is like safe, obviously, because that's been going on for like
right.
decades
But like,
now.
there's newer studies that I'm hearing that because you lose weight so rapidly, you also lose a lot of muscle mass so quickly. So like what are the implications of that? Like,
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a lot. I mean, if anyone, if it, widely speculated that Lana Del Rey used Ozempic for
Yeah,
rapid weight loss, but she also got really toned. So maybe someone should talk to her
right.
doctors and trainer. Just
Because she goes to that gym that Taylor Swift goes to. It's like the one that's like the dog symbol.
what?
It's like she went to Taylor
She
Swift's
got that dog in her.
She got
Yeah.
that dog in her.
That's awesome.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for listening and supporting the podcast. And always remember, DM us with topics you want to hear anytime.
Yes.
Please.
I'm Elise,
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
and this is a Patreon exclusive episode of Allegedly Astrology. Bye.
Bye.
We
Love
did
you,
it
miss you.
again.